but it wouldn't be nothing without a woman.
Hey, started out riding, man with the geezers, with she didn't want to talk about the cheek. All of them talk, my bad ass still ain't listen, was living, but taught me the ways they.
What's up? What's up? It is Idani Marie. Happy Monday. I am your podcast bestie. I help businesses and creators use podcasting as a marketing tool so they can build trust with their audience and turn listeners into customers through clear content strategy, systems, and training. And by the way, if you're a business or advertiser, I help you get in front of the right audience so you can increase sales and brand awareness through podcast promotions, creator partnerships, and live activations. And I try to be live Monday through Friday around 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. 12 to 12:30-ish. I'm still trying to nail that time slot down between getting both kids off to school with their split schedules, and everything can get so chaotic. But generally speaking, I like to be live between the hours of 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time and 12:30. And we're on for about 30 minutes to an hour, Monday through Friday. That said, not only do I do live podcast recordings, but I also host a virtual meetup every Saturday, 7 a.m. PST, 10 a.m. EST, and it's pretty much an accountability support group for podcasters. We welcome you to join us. It's where we created our ebook together. It's where we are working on creating an anthology in the very near future. It's where we brought together people who met us in Atlanta. It's just a place to once again hold one another accountable. And this world could be so isolating. And so just to know you have another group of podcasters who are like-minded, who are after some of the same things as you, is always comforting. So join us in community. We try to meet once a week again online. And then every quarter, we try to meet in person. So our last event was at the Black Effect Podcast Festival on April 25th. And I think our next one will be in August, I think in North Carolina. But we will keep you posted. Not only that, I have a membership community where sometimes it's, again, showing up just to be in support of one another, showing up because it's hard to do these things alone. So whether that's doing a book reading together or working out together or doing a focus group together or doing some work together, a study session, doing something hands-on. We always try to have something around the clock that isn't always front-facing. So you do have to be a member of our community to join. And so more details about that on our website, plantopodcast.com. And last thing we have coming up this week on Saturday, during our regular podcast meetup, I'm using that time to talk about the 8 different ways for you to monetize your platform. And so if you're interested in that, then you do need to visit podcastpeeps.com/events in order to register. So there's a free registration option, and then there is a VIP option for you to actually get the questions and answers that you need. And then the working in collaboration with someone like myself, who's pretty well versed in these things, who can help you in real time. So again, if you want the one-on-one support and you want to do things and not put them off for the next day or week, but you want to actually turn your content into a digital asset in real time on Saturday, then you do want to purchase the VIP. The payment is flexible, so just visit the website, podcastpeeps.com/events for the details of that. I want to talk today about modesty and why modesty is killing you, but not just you, me. So this is actually a very personal topic that I wanted to dive into. And I actually had something totally different that I wanted to talk about, but this feels very personal and very raw and very real, especially right now. And so we'll get into all of that. in just a moment. But if you are watching the replay, I would like for you to comment the word replay. If you're watching live, please comment the word live. Also, tell us where you're tuning in from. Again, we try to do in-person events around the clock. And so it's great to know who we have a part of this community, who is listening, where you're listening from, so we know where we need to make our next stop. To catch you all up, if you haven't heard, let's go through some of the more popular things before we get into the main topic. So I try to cover AI news, podcasting related news, and have it all tie back to pop culture and things that are happening in the now that's important for all of us to know. So let's see what's on the docket. And by the way, you can do this same thing if you're using Manus or ChatGPT or Gemini. You can make sure that you have a daily report that is emailed to you. If you communicate that to your chat or Manus and let them know you want a daily report, what the things should include, what the report should include. For me, it's a vocabulary word of the day, so I'm always staying sharp on the terminology. It's also like what's happening in AI, what's happening in podcasting, what's happening with the top 1% of podcasters. So I make sure to get all of that emailed to me at 7 a.m. PST every day so that I can come back to you guys and bring you the content. But maybe your news circuit is different from mine. And so you just need to specify what exactly you want ChatGPT or Manus to look up for you. And then make sure that you are getting that daily report sent to you via email. And it's fairly simple. And speaking of vocabulary words, the vocabulary term today that ties a lot to the topic, modesty is killing you. Our vocabulary word is positioning. So positioning, how you present yourself so people understand what you do and why it matters. And modesty has been the silent killer for so long, and not positioning yourself accordingly. So I can't wait again to dive into that topic in just a moment. But before we do, checking the pulse of what's happening in the industry. Let's see. So my daily report says AI is now being discussed across major podcasts as a business accelerator, not just a tool. So again, things are moving so quickly in this industry, podcasting and content creation. And now with AI, things are moving ever so quickly. And so what I'm hearing or reading, AI is now being discussed across major podcasts as a business accelerator, taking a very quick accelerator course to get people adept and well-versed or educated on the AI topic. So it's not this long drawn out process. It happens within an accelerator is typically about 4 to 8 weeks. And so 8 weeks, you should be well-versed. You should be brought up to speed on this AI thing with all the AI tools, with how to use them. And I think this is a smart decision because the more you negate AI, the more you neglect it and you're not using it, there's a greater wedge that's creating a separation in more marginalized communities. And so even if you have some angst towards AI and you want, like I've heard this before, I don't want to teach my kids AI because I want them to think for themselves. I mean, I get what you're saying just on a moral compass. I get why it's important, especially now, looking at some of the reading levels and the skill sets that these now young adults have. It's kind of disheartening, but you're not doing your kids any good by not showing them parts of AI or not introducing them to AI, because like we were as millennials brought into this world of technology, kids are now brought into this world of AI. And so the more you try to refrain from introducing this AI to them, number one, they're going to find other ways around it. And number two, they're going to be so far behind because you were just so hell bent on your moral compass that you missed an opportunity to introduce something very prevalent and very necessary for your kids. So I don't want to tell people how to parent, because I still have a lot of learning to do as a parent myself. But I do want to say there should be, with everything, moderation and balance. And you should, at the end of the day, be introducing AI to your kids. Not just that, you should be making changes in your own business or your own personal life to adopt some AI. And hence why businesses, there's some ebb and flow in business, and you see a lot of businesses who are kind of going out of business, no pun intended, because they did not pivot. So Spirit, for example, just had to close down after 32 plus years. I was a big proponent, a strong advocate for Spirit. I live here in Seattle, Washington. I say Seattle because most people know Seattle. They don't know Tacoma, where I'm technically from. So I'm here in Seattle, Washington. And there was a year where I went back and forth using Spirit, back and forth to Las Vegas. I might have went like 15 to 20 times on Spirit because it was just that cheap. And so people are saying that Spirit missed out because they were not catering to their budget-friendly, loyal audience, loyal customers. And some people saw it a little deeper than that and say that, you know, because of the person that's currently elected who has raised, not exactly, but the gas prices have went up. And therefore, I think Spirit's fuel was like $30 million a month, if I'm not mistaken. And so just pivoting alone can make or break a business, or pivoting alone can make or break you in your personal life, your parenting, or whatever. The lack of pivoting. And so again, businesses are building these accelerated programs, and that's because they're thinking with a 10, 15, 25-year goal in their reverse engineering, and they're thinking about how can we get success and build out faster, maybe perhaps through these business accelerated programs. So not just using AI for something very mundane and repetitive, but now building a whole ecosystem around AI, right? So that's why these business accelerators are spearheading and dominating, and not just using AI as a tool anymore, but something that you're creating within your business, because AI is here to stay. Second thing, podcast hosts and experts are emphasizing storytelling. So if you haven't noticed, I've really adopted this idea of storytelling because I've tried in my lifetime to create so many different businesses. There was a time when I was very young and I created something called Great Romance. Great Romance was for, the target audience was a guy who was trying to treat his significant other, but he didn't have the creative ideas. So he would enlist my support and I would basically set everything up. This was before everything became popular, where there are now people who will go and put the rose petals out in your hotel. That was not happening at the time that I came up with Great Romance. I was going to put together these really nice packages because men just did not have the creative bone in their body. Well, that failed. Then I got into college and I created something else called Schoolhouse Clothing. It was bringing art, important messages about education, and we would put things like knowledge is power. So I'm flexing on the t-shirt just to bring education awareness to people. And then we would use the part of the proceeds to fund education programs. Well, that lasted for a very short stint. I worked with a few schools and it did what it needed to do, but then that was a bust, right? And I just had so many different ideas, very little execution and follow through, but a lot of it was because I lacked storytelling. I didn't get out in front of the people. I didn't market myself. And so I have this product or a brand that people didn't know about. So now you see me all of the time telling my story. So people who don't know me, they can pick up on my story right away. A solo mom, 2 boys, in podcasting, talking about everyday trauma, everyday personal development, everyday self-help. And that's basically who I am in a nutshell and what I talk a lot about on my platforms. And storytelling is so instrumental to your success. Without sharing your story, without letting people in on who you are, what you do, who it's for, who you support, what the mission is behind it, what's the vision, what's the goal, then very few people are going to be concerned or care, right? So storytelling is huge. Working on communication, which is why I'm a big proponent of podcasting. It helps you sharpen those skill sets where you need to work on your public speaking and communication skills. Relationship building. So you cannot build a business, a podcast, or a platform in general alone. You need people who are going to push it further. You need people who are going to talk good about you and bad about you without you looking. When you're not showing up online, you need people who are going to carry the conversation. You need those people engaging in the comment section. So all of these are the real differentiators now when it comes to podcast hosts and experts, and what separates a great podcast host from maybe someone who's not so great or who's still doing this as a hobbyist. The bar is no longer can you create content, but do people care what you think? And I've seen that happen in, Deontay Kyle. I've seen that happen with Lex P, where they started one way and they showed up and they were consistent, and a part of their story is what gave them the platform that they now have. I've seen that with everybody. Charlemagne the guy who's been fired multiple times, but kept at it, is now a expert in radio, broadcasting, mental health. The story goes on and on and on. How much of your story are you willing to share to catapult you into your destiny? And is it enough to glean an audience? Is it enough to grow one? I'm sorry. Let's talk AI news. AI is enabling small creators and teams to launch faster than ever. AI is advancing into strategy, communication, decision-making, and this is important. AI is not your competition. AI, again, should be thought of as a tool, as a resource, as something to create an ecosystem. AI is something that is going to, again, make or break your business or your personal brand. And so it's not that it's a threat to you. Sure, that may come down the pipeline, but the more you learn about stuff, the more you carve out your own lane and your own niche, right? And you can add multi-hyphenate to your bio when you know a little bit about AI. When you are well-versed in multiple things, that makes you more of an asset. So to avoid the talk of AI is not what you want to do. You want to lean more into it and become somewhat of an expert, or at the very least, have some basic level of understanding of what AI is and what open language models are, not just limiting yourself to ChatGPT or Gemini, but there's now so many resources that are out there with the help of AI. So people perish due to a lack of knowledge. So avoiding it does not mean you're better off. It doesn't mean that you're greater. It means you're willing to confront things that you don't understand. You're willing to wrap your head around it. You're willing to get your hands dirty. You're willing to take the risk. You're willing to lean into something to get an understanding, whether you choose to use it in your everyday lives or not. Again, at the very basic level, you should have some understanding and basic knowledge of AI. And what you're noticing now in the market is that a lot of women in particular are moving from corporate, and they're leaning more into becoming freelancers, independent freelancers, working with people as coaches and consultants. And a lot of them are adding that extra arm to what they do, or leg, whatever limb you want to throw in there, they're adding that extra leg. So you are well-versed in operations, and now you can add AI in business operations, or you're well-versed in marketing, and now you can add marketing and AI. right? I'm well versed in podcasting. Now I can add podcasting, customer service, and AI. Whatever the case, lean into it. Do not avoid it. What podcasters are doing right now? Let's talk about it. I would love to know what some of you guys are doing that you feel like has landed you on the right track. But across podcasts today, there are more and more conversations that are centered on what makes someone stand out in a world of AI, why human storytelling still matters, how to build influence without large teams, and the answer keeps coming back to this: voice, perspective, and positioning. Top podcast movement. Let's talk about current patterns in the podcast industry. What's winning right now? Daily commentary podcasts. So another reason why I am live Monday through Friday to talk about podcasting, to talk about the changes that are happening in this industry that are happening ever so quickly. Thought leader style content. Again, why podcasting makes a lot of sense for people. I know there's a talk about podcasting feeling very oversaturated. That might be true, but there's not a lot of oversaturation of people doing the podcasting thing correctly. A lot of them are still doing it poorly. And so you still have an opportunity to stand out from the crowd. 1, 2, podcasting allows for you to show up and be the expert in your respective field, the thought leader with your style of content. It allows for you to do the daily commentary content that's needed. It allows you to show up in real time and meet people in real time. And right after that live, you have a strong call to action that you can lead people to. So podcasting is a funnel that allows you to meet people where they're at and then bring them to what you want them to do with you, for you, next. Podcasting, meaning someone to interpret the moment for them. So, your thing might be music or art or finance or business. And so there's a podcast out there, true crime. There's a podcast out there for you that's going to bring the information to you. Hopefully it's entertaining and educational. And that's probably what has galvanized people and moved them to listen, right? But that's what people are looking for. And that's why podcasting is such a great vehicle, because it does so much with so little input. You can get so much output. You can build an audience. You can become an expert in your respective field. You can repurpose your content. You can transform people's lives and yours through podcasting. Let's talk a little bit about the infusion of pop culture in podcasting. So what's currently being discussed: AI replacing traditional skill sets, the importance of storytelling and communication in careers, and the rise of smaller creators building influence faster. I think a lot of people have grown fatigue of big corporate. We don't believe them. We don't believe the hype. We see how they position things in the public eye, but we realize months or years later what they were actually doing behind the scenes, which turns out to be very problematic for a lot of everyday people like you and I. So I think people are looking for authenticity. They're looking for truth. They're looking for people they can trust. They're looking for that rapport. They're looking for people who identify as them, right? And so that's why I think you starting to see more creators lean into podcasting, more content creators lean more into personal storytelling. The conversation is shifting from what can you do to how do you show up. Right now, AI is speeding everything up. Content is easier to create more than ever, and attention is harder to earn than ever. All right, so let's get into this personal topic. But before we do, let me check the chat. Anyone commenting right now? Whether you're on Twitch, whether you're on Facebook, whether you are on Instagram. All right. I don't see any current comments. That's all right. We're moving on. All right, so this personal topic here, modesty is killing you. I cannot stress this enough. And again, this is coming from me personally. So sometimes, depending on how much time I have, sometimes I'm coming up with something impromptu off the cuff because it's personal or because it's an observation that I had. Sometimes I'm trusting on AI to give me a script. Today, there's no script. Today, it's all me because I was driving and I was like, you know what, Danny, modesty is killing you. So this message is for me because I'm looking at so many people that I care about, and I'm looking at some of the people that they look up to. And because I'm kind of knee deep in this thing with podcasting and I do my research, I've seen some of the same people be called out for being scammers, for being inauthentic, for not following through, for not owning up to their truth, for doing something very shady behind the scenes. A lot of people I'm noticing are falling victim to that. And it's because these other people are louder, they're more confident, they built up a following, they speak with so much fervor that it feels like they know what they're talking about. It feels like they're confident. It feels like they're earnest. It feels like they're honest. But if you pull back the curtain, a lot of it is redundant, repetitive, stolen material. A lot of it, if you pull back the curtain, is scammy. Like literally, there's a person that I've been following for a while on their journey in podcasting. And I'm now learning so many people have come up to me and said, this person scammed me. This person took my idea. This person did not give me what they said that they were going to give me. But they're still able to keep doing the thing that's scammy, dishonest, because there is more bravado, they're more boastful, they're more braggadocious, they're more confident, they lean in. And another thing is, a lot of people that I notice, they like to be talked to a certain way, more aggressive. Like if a person's talking to me and there's conviction, then they must be really out to help me. No, that's what works. Virality, pulling on people's heartstrings, and all of those things is what is working. And again, having to stand out, these people who are scammy, who are getting away with so much, have learned the formula to engagement. They have learned the formula to getting your dollars. They've learned the formula to what might look like long-term success is faking it until you make it, is talking down upon people and sounding confident. And that is what is working. Whereas you have a person like myself who doesn't really talk a lot about myself until recently. Like I said, I am working on being more vocal and transparent and doing the storytelling thing. And you can see that in my content. But I don't necessarily care what your thoughts are about me. I don't necessarily try to over explain myself. So I kind of just drop nuggets and then I keep it pushing, right? But I notice how I'll say something to some people and then it goes over people's heads, and then somebody else will come up behind me and say exactly what I said. But for whatever reason, it clicks for people when that next person says it. So delivery, positioning, confidence, those are the things that I probably lack because I came from a background being raised in a single parent household. When my mom had to leave us with other people, she's always taught me modesty. She's always taught me to be quiet, kind of almost in a way built me to be this person that comes off very timid and unsure. And then of course I have this very nice looking baby face exterior that I think a lot of people just don't take me seriously. Even though I got my degrees 10 plus years ago now, and I got my master's degree at this point 10 years ago. I've worked almost in every industry, right? I know a lot about a lot. I just don't care to beat on my chest, or I don't talk myself up that way. So a lot of times the things that I say, they just don't penetrate. They don't come across as someone who sounds educated or confident. And it's because I've been humble for a very long time. Another example, and I'm going to lean more into that part about, how I was raised. My mom's like, you don't want to rock the boat. You don't want to overstay your welcome. You don't want to get on people's nerves. And so I always grew up with trying not to rock the boat, until a point where it came out ahead that when I was old enough to speak up for myself in like middle school, high school, I went the opposite side of the pendulum. The pendulum swung and it stayed, right? It stayed over here for quite a while. So then I became a rebel. That's when I had to go to Job Corps, because now I'm just completely flipped at the mouth. And so then the reverse started happening. I got so bad at the mouth, such a bad attitude, like real reckless, that I don't think people understand that about me either. Because again, I'm very sweet, soft-spoken, but I used to be very loud, very obnoxious, very rambunctious. I used to get in a lot of trouble. And so for that reason, I've kind of pulled back, right? And I don't speak up as much. I don't talk about the things that I know as much. I kind of stick to the one talking habit, which is podcasting. So people don't see the multi hyphenate or multi-dimensional person, because I'm just not speaking up. I'm just not telling everything that I know. I'm just not loud and explicit or like matter of fact about many things. And so people are like, I'm not sure. And I can't tell you how many times that's happened to me. Like, even when it comes to providing a service for somebody, I've seen people, I'll tell them what my offer is. I'll tell them what I do. I tell them how I can help them. And, for whatever reason, they just don't go with me. And then we'll meet in the same space again. And the next thing I know, somebody else is working with that person, doing what I was able to do, probably for a lot cheaper. But now here you are paying a premium price for something that I could have done for you at a much lower price, because I just believe we don't need to charge people $1,000, because your $1,000 plus this other $1,000 plus this other $1,000, it all adds up for the customer, right? But because I don't try to pull people's arm, or I don't try to, salesman you out the door, I just keep it very modest. So now I've potentially lost a customer to someone else who sounded more confident, or who said $1,250 and who stood on that 10 toes down. Or I'm like, okay, well, $750, whatever you could do. Or maybe $200, whatever you can do. So because I'm more flexible, less confident, not bravado, I don't have a lot of bravado, or I don't beat on my chest about all of the things that I know and that I can provide. Modesty has been a silent killer. I look at a whole bunch of people and I don't envy not one soul, right? Because I still am very confident in the fact and content in the fact that when my time comes, my time will come. I know what God has for me, God has for me. But maybe I'm speaking to someone else who's been modest for a very long time. And you're like, yeah, whatever. Just kind of like go with the flow, casual, just like I am. I literally, for the rest of my life, literally can be in my own bubble and would not care. And that's literally how I live my lifestyle. Like, I literally live my life by myself. And I'm not saying that to say, well, it's me. I'm saying like, that's how long of a life I feel like I've lived that many of you guys don't know about. I'm talking about jail time. I'm talking about drugs. I'm talking about all the sex you can have. I'm talking about real loss. I'm talking about just like living a rock star lifestyle that some people don't know anything about. And like when they see me now, they're like, she's just this really sweet, quiet person. Mystique. There's a lot of mystique to me that people still don't know. I think a lot of people feel like, she looks so young, even though I'm about to be 40 in 14 more days. She looks so young. She probably doesn't know that much, or she doesn't know a lot about business. Just because you don't see all of these things present day does not mean that these things have not happened. Doesn't mean that I've been in rooms with millionaires. Doesn't mean that I haven't learned hard life lessons that I can still share with many of you, that could still alter and change your dynamic and help you get back on the right track. So I think the modesty thing, even though I feel pretty okay present day, doesn't take away from the fact that I'm observing modesty has been a hindrance for me, and perhaps could be a hindrance for you too. Living too modest, not speaking up more, not showing everything that you know, not putting all your cards out there and letting people see your hand. All of that, even though you feel like I'm trying to be humble, I'm trying to, not shake the table and rock the boat too much, that is the silent killer. Because meanwhile, you have people out there. Every day I'm looking at these people. Some people are in my group. Some people, I hear their names come up in conversations a lot. And I'm like, these people, just because they are front facing and they seem polished, does not mean that they're honest, truthful, and not out to get you for the worst outcome, for their benefit, but for you, kind of leaving you high and dry. And in the reverse, just because people are modest and they may sound timid, you don't know the life that they lived. You don't know what it took for them to get to where they are now. And you should not pass judgment and think, okay, well, this person's too modest. It can't be that she knows anything, or it can't be that she can offer me anything. I think that is a misjudgment on a lot of our parts. Just because you sound like you talk a good game does not mean that you have it all together. And therefore, a lot of you who buy from these people, I know you're getting ripped off. I know you are getting taken advantage of. I know after the fact you bought this thing and you still haven't applied anything that you've learned, because the community piece, or the people that truly care about you, you are looking over those people. You're not thinking straight. You're not thinking about the full circle. Like you, again, many people that I see, they much rather look at, and a lot of this happened. Another thing that I've noticed too, and sorry to kind of be talking in circles at this part, but I'm thinking about a lot of different things at once. I'm just going to say it, a lot of my Black counterparts, they will see their white counterparts and they will think white is right. And that's not entirely true. It's just the way that you've been conditioned. And so you think that because it comes from someone who has been your oppressor for so long, that's just innate for you to adopt whatever they say. And so you completely dismiss your brother and your sister. You completely overlook your cousin who's been doing this thing for 10 years, and you go to the white man to get what you need because you feel white is right. Now, I'm not saying I hate all white people. I'm just saying things that I've observed. And again, speaking from personal experience, modesty has been my silent killer. I have people literally close to me that will go ask someone else for the thing that I can deliver because I've been too modest, because I haven't said very loud and clear, or I haven't like, girl, get it together. Like I have not drilled that down or told people like, this is where I stand and I'm standing 10 toes down on this one thing. This is the hill I'm willing to die on. You haven't heard me be like that. And it's because a lot of my background, I've just been like quiet, coasting in the background for a very long time, off to the side, don't really need, like, I feel like I need to fit in, or I need to beat on my chest and talk about all of the accomplishments that I have. The fact that I have 3 degrees, the fact that I've been through so many personal development and business trainings, and I have so many different certifications and credentials. And the fact that I've been in rooms with people that other people would care a lot about, that doesn't necessarily move me. And so I don't lead with those things. I lead with human first. I lead with community first. I lead with how can I serve? I lead with are you okay, right? How can I help you? I just try to observe and watch people. And from that, I'm noticing that there is this theme of modesty that's killing people who don't speak up, who don't speak with more confidence. And I think the word I'm looking for is it's not just the confidence, but it's like the matter of factness, like to and I'm willing to charge top premium dollar for what I know. It's the fact that you don't lead with that is why people feel like they can't come to you, because they feel like you don't know what you're talking about. Meanwhile, you have people out here that are willing to lean all in with the marketing, lean all in with the false truths. They're leaning all in with false information just because they can talk a good game. And so those are the people that generally attract the most people. They know how to be provocative. They know how to be engaging, and it's causing them to get more of the business, right? And again, I personally cannot ever say that I looked at someone and said, I envy you. I want to be like you. I'm mad because I'm not where you are. I've never looked at anyone like that and felt like I wanted what anybody has, because I know the cross that I carry, and I know the cross that other people carry. I know that at some point it all comes crumbling down. I know that darkness comes to light at the end of the day. So I've never envied anyone, because I know my time will come, and I know what looks all good, right, and appealing behind the curtains eventually comes to the light, and you find that these people, finally got what was coming for them all along. And also, I do believe in my own karma. Like I said, I lived a very, very, very hard life, and I'm just now coming out on the other side of it, just like where I am living a more peaceful life. I was caught up in the drama, caught up in fighting, caught up in the drugs, caught up in all of the other stuff, the secular stuff. So I'm just now at a place of peace and contentment. But again, all of that has come at a risk. Not wanting to rock the boat, not wanting to ruffle any feathers, because even when it comes to like eye contact, right? Sometimes I avoid eye contact because, and again, you don't know what people go through. Either I avoid eye contact with most men because I have this very flirty, sexual energy. And every person, without a shadow of a doubt, every person, at least in my past, it always came out, right? And it was always some kind of like energy that I gave off that gave people the wrong impression of me. And I'm talking about like males. So even eye contact, I try to avoid eye contact with some men. Other people, I try to avoid eye contact because I can kind of just read people pretty well. Read when I see that they're judging, read when they are kind of like not being truthful and dishonest. I just read people, and it's just kind of something that I've developed, just someone who's an empath. So even that, like I am aware, and I'm very self-aware of a lot of things, but I just don't. And another reason why I don't mind being in my shell is like some people are just, at the end of the day, people are going to fail every time because people are people. And so that's another reason why I don't mind being in my bubble, because I've seen so many people just fail at being good people. There's not a lot of good people, good-hearted people that are out there. And so I use all of that to kind of create this bubble around me that creates distance so I don't feel approachable, even though I'm probably one of the most approachable people, non-judgmental people who's really authentically me. Like, I'm just going to help you at the end of the day. But again, because I've created distance, because I've avoided eye contact, because I don't speak up for myself, because I appear as though I'm very modest, that has caused me to lose out on business and lose out on relationships. Sometimes even speaking up, like I'm thinking about certain spaces that I don't like to speak up in. It's because, not because I'm timid, it's because I have to learn to control my tongue. That's something I'm still working on because I used to be very bad at it. I'm not just this person that a lot of people think that I am. And we have to be careful about how we judge people and misjudging people. I have to work on not cussing. I have to work on not sounding like I'm giving static or an attitude just because I know what I know. I have to work on not rubbing people the wrong way. That's what I used to get in trouble for all of the time. I'm talking about at school. I'm talking about with the law. I'm talking about with my mom. It's just, dang, you can be so ruthless, Danny. Like, I've been told that many a times, or so nonchalant. I have to work on that. So that's why I don't speak up in certain spaces, because I know like people are going to be looking at me like, okay, was she trying to play me, or was that intended, when I'm just speaking regular? But it's something about myself that I've had to check. And now, so much so, I've done so much checking within myself that now I miss opportunities to speak up for myself. And so again, I'm only sharing all of this because it was very raw and very personal. Like, you can't be mad, Danny, and I haven't been. Like, this goes to no person in particular. It's just, I'm constantly, and I don't know if people know this about Tauruses, but a lot of Tauruses, we don't look for outside validation. A lot of Tauruses are very content with themselves. And the only time they go for outside validation is just to affirm what they've already been telling themselves. So when it comes to, I don't think a lot of people are smarter than me. I don't think that a lot of people do more work than me. I don't think that a lot of people are willing to work as hard as I do. I don't think a lot of people are that much more better off. I just think a lot of people are well at hiding it, faking the funk, or putting on this persona. But because a person like myself is not willing to do all of those things, then I'm overshadowed by other people who possibly do. And so again, modesty could be killing you. It could be killing your business. It could be making you self-doubt. It can make you self-loathe. It can make you question yourself. It can make you regret your decisions. It can make you feel like you are falling behind because you've been too modest. It's time to speak out more about who you are, who you help, what you do. It's time to leave all of the things in the past. That's definitely something I'm telling myself. Like, okay, you've been leaning on all of these things that got you to where you are now, but how about you start living more in the present, right? What next? Who are you today? And so that's what I want to start encouraging other people to do, especially if you've been living like me, too modest for too long. And if it's caused you to feel like you're stagnant, like there's no mobility because you haven't told more people about what you do, or you haven't been honest about, hey, I think you're making a very dumb decision. Here is why, and here is how I know I can help you. And if you don't want the help, that's fine, but at least I told you. I didn't completely avoid the conversation to avoid possibly rubbing your feathers the wrong way. If you know that your intention is not to rub people the wrong way, then that should be it. Constantly overanalyzing or not wanting to offend anyone is causing you to not get where you need to be in life. So speak out more. Tell people what you do. And going back to the vocabulary word of the day, positioning. Positioning how you present yourself so people understand what you do and why it matters. Work on that more. If you don't get anything else from this 49 minutes of kind of me talking, just understand positioning. Positioning is how you present yourself so people understand what you do and why it matters. If I had to say, I am more of an organizational person that can help you with the back end of your business, that can help. I'm resourceful. I can lead you to the right person or lead you to the right opportunities or lead you to the right tools and resources. I'm a connector. And so lead with those things, right? It's not just podcasting. It's let's talk about the fact that I've managed being a solo parent for so long. Let's talk about the fact that I've probably had a million different jobs. Let's talk about the fact that I've probably had a million different lives. Let's talk about the fact that I have gotten myself out of some very traumatic situations and I'm still in my right state of mind. And I haven't, for the most part, I haven't harmed anyone. I haven't done any wrongdoing. I haven't done any of those things when I could have because I've been through as much as I have, right? Those are all great attributes, great skill sets that make a great leader. And if you're anything like myself, lean more into that, right? Lean more into things that make you you. Not thinking that this is just so obvious, people should know it. No, you have to talk about it more. Speak out about it more. Tell people every time you can why you're in the position that you're in, how you can help other people, what you do, what value you bring to other people. Speak boldly, proudly, and confidently about what you do, right? And see how that helps you in your business and in your personal life. And with that, I am going to go. I have a 2:00 meeting and I need to be ready for that. My guy says, I'm modest. Modesty is the silent killer. I want you guys to know that today. It literally is. At first, we kind of grew up, especially if you come from a Black family. My mom's not the only one. Don't rock the boat. It comes from that whole thing of slavery, right? You don't want to make the master upset, right? And so our parents instilled in us, you don't want to be seen, you don't want to be heard, keep quiet, be modest. Whether you guys want to date it back to slavery days or not, that's the truth. A lot of us don't want to rock the boat because that's been passed down from generation to generation. You don't want to make massa upset. I am of the cloth, and I've always been of the cloth, no matter who you are. Fuck you. Fuck master. You gonna have to kill me right where I stay. And I'm really like that, like literally. Literally, I've walked up to people on the street, men who are hovering over their women, just being abusive. And I'm like, I will knock your whole head off. Just like that. Like that's literally who I am as a person. But because I've gotten in so much trouble and because I've listened in certain instances where my mom's like, do not make this person mad. Do not overstay your welcome. I've kind of grown up just battling these two different energies, right? Like be timid, be quiet, be modest versus the bull in me, the rebel in me, the fiery person in me that speaks up and advocates for people no matter what, right, wrong. I'm going to speak up, right? If I see somebody being taken advantage of, if I see somebody hurting, I'm always advocating for the underdog. That's just always who I've been. That's just always how I've shown up. Even when it comes to I don't have some of the friends that I used to have because some of the friends I used to have were dating men that I didn't necessarily think that were great for them. And then meanwhile, I'm always speaking up for my friends. And now your boyfriend is mad at me, but you going back to the boyfriend. So I just like stuff like that. I don't even talk no more. I don't do what I'm supposed to do. And I'm missing out on my blessings because I'm being too modest. I'm not speaking up. What's that saying? If you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. That's kind of where I've found myself in this big age. Just not willing to stand and speak out for something so people don't know where I stand, or I feel like just being too diplomatic, like right there in the middle, straddling the fence, not taking any strong stance one way or the other. It's caused me to look timid. It's caused me to look meek. It's caused me to be overlooked. When really, I should be saying, no, I know just as much, if not more, as this person. No, really, this person really isn't all that. And it's not to say I'm hating on anyone or, I feel like I deserve more than anybody. I know that I do, but I also know my own karma's got me to the places that I'm at present day. But also, I'm taking full accountability that me choosing modesty has caused me to also remain in a very stagnant place. So that's my rant for today. That's my video for today. Modesty is killing you. Now go back and listen to the other stuff because we also talked about AI and podcasting. But I would love to know your thoughts about this topic. Is modesty killing you? And what are you willing to do to step into the newness of you, the next evolution of who you are supposed to be? What does that look like? Do you even know? If not, definitely reach out. Let's connect. Let's have a talk about it. If you're not a member, you should certainly join our membership community. And like I said, around the clock calendars, maybe that's not front facing, whether it's our book club, our podcasting meetups, our podcasting co-working sessions, working out together. Those are all of the things that we're going to be doing together as a collective. And you can find more information again about that on our website, plantopodcast.com. Sorry, that was already streaming below. I'm Danny Marie, your podcast bestie, and I'll see you tomorrow, same time, 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Peace.
This is a man's world.
Hey,
But it wouldn't be nothing
yeah.
without a woman.
Hey, started out riding, man with the geezers with it. She didn't work out the pot about the chick. All of them times my bad ass still ain't listen, was living, but taught me the ways they